What's up guys, it's Faded. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing awesome as always. And one thing that's always crossed my mind was the accuracy of Need for Speed. Obviously accuracy isn't the first thing you think of since it's an arcade racer, but think about all the cars that we've purchased throughout the games we played. Are the prices in those games at all close to their true market value? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. So let's lay down some ground rules before we start. For the sake of time, we are picking one car from each game in which it is possible to purchase cars in. Second, we will only be choosing cars that were released around the time that the corresponding game came out. So for example, we won't be choosing the Camaro in Need for Speed Carbon since that's a well over 30-year-old car as of the time of the game's release. And third, cash currency games only, meaning as much as I love Need for Speed Rivals, it will not be included in this video as speed points were the main currency of that game. However, there is a slight loophole to this rule that you will come to see later on. So with that out of the way, let's begin. Alright, so we begin with Need for Speed Underground. So for this first game, I decided to go with the Honda S2K as it was released in 2003, which was the same year that this game came out. So the in-game car can be purchased for $28,000 after finishing event 69, nice, in the career mode. So what's the car's actual market value in 2003? $22,266, so pretty close. So for the sequel to Underground, I decided to go with the Hyundai Tiburon. Cost $8,500 and you get it fairly early into the game. Its actual market value though is $18,739, so unless this is a used version, I guess Bayview's dealerships really don't know how to properly value their cars. Next up, I figured it was only fair to incorporate a supercar eventually, so I decided to go with the gorgeous Lamborghini Murcielago for Need for Speed Most Wanted. Once you defeat Blacklist number 4, it can be purchased for $260,000, and the true market value varies for a car like this, but it generally falls between $215,000 and $359,900, with websites like Edmunds listing a Murcielago with 18k miles for around $245,000. So let's go with that price for the sake of simplicity. Almost right on the dot. This is the closest price difference yet in this video. Next up, we go to my favorite Need for Speed game of all time, that being Carbon. So for this game, I chose the Mazda Speed 3. It's one of the first cars that you start out with a price of $30,000. The actual car's market value? Well, depending on your choice of trim, it could be anywhere from $22,000 to $27,000. So that means we now have a front runner for the most historically accurate market price. Let's see how the rest of this video pans out. Maybe Carbon will stay on top, maybe not. Next up is Need for Speed Pro Street, and I decided to go with an absolute beast of a car, the Aston Martin DBR9. So in this game, it will run you around $900,000. Now, the DBR9 is the race spec version of the normal Aston Martin DB9, and it can vary greatly depending on its condition and history. So a race-prepared DBR9 once sold at auction for $2.25 million. So we've got it for much cheaper in Pro Street than we do in real life. Next, we move to some people's favorite Need for Speed game, you absolute strange people, Need for Speed Undercover. So for this game, I went for the Audi TT 3.2 Quattro, the first Audi featured in the video so far. And in Undercover, this car is going to run you about $79,000, and the actual market value of this car is $47,475. So I guess Tri-City Bay was dealing with their own financial crisis in 2008, because that's hella expensive. Now, I hear you say,
but Faded, you can't buy any cars in Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012.
And that's where you're wrong, because we're covering the mobile version in which you can actually purchase cars with in-game cash. So I decided to go for two Audis in a row. This next one is the A1 Club Sport Quattro. So in the mobile version of this game, every car is purchased using the cash from winning events. And in the console and PC version, you get them using speed points. So in the mobile version, this car is $200,000. But in real life though, this car is a limited edition model and its original price was never publicly listed. However, judging by the fact that only 333 of them were made and sold, its price is probably significantly higher on the used market than a standard A1, likely in the range of $100,000 or more. So this is probably the only instance in this video where we don't have a price that's set in stone, so I'll let you make that assumption for yourself. So the Need for Speed Reboot is next here, and I decided to choose the Subaru BRZ. So in Need for Speed 2015, this is a starter car, and it's going to run you about $27,400. The 2015 Subaru BRZ had an MSRP starting price of $25,695 for the premium model, which is the one that's featured in this game, and the car's limited trim is probably the closest price-wise to the in-game version, starting at $27,069. Next, we move to what is actually, after playing it, a pretty fun Need for Speed game. So, Need for Speed Payback's next up, and I decided to go with the Acura NSX. This car will cost $156,350 in-game, which is actually right on the dot in terms of its real-world price. The base MSRP for the 2017 NSX was $156,000 on the dot. This puts it price-wise in the same league as the Audi R8 and the Porsche 911 Turbo from that time. So, we now have a king for closest price differential in this video so far, and I think this is probably as close as we're going to get. Next, we move to Need for Speed Heat, and I decided to go with the BMW Z4 M40i. Now, this is one of the nicest soft-top BMWs that I have ever laid eyes on. This car in game is going to cost you $108,500, and its real-life MSRP is around $64,600. So this price is based on the high-performance version, which features a 3-liter inline-6 with 382 horsepower. Now, this is a really egregious difference in pricing. I don't know if they kind of just randomized the prices for Need for Speed Heat, because comparing some other cars off camera, they are more accurate than others, and then you just got a car like this, which is 40 grand more expensive than its real-life counterpart. So for the final entry today, I decided to go with the Lotus Evija, I don't know how you pronounce it. This is the first electric car featured in this video, and oh boy, I hope you got money to burn. This car is going to run you $2.6 million in Need for Speed Unbound. However, its MSRP is actually incredibly close, and believe it or not, cheaper than the in-game version, $2.3 million. Now, this price is for the single trim level that comes with all the features someone would expect from a hypercar, and it's also important to note here that there were only 130 of these things built, so not only are they crazy expensive, but they're also incredibly rare to come by. So that's going to wrap things up. This was a fun little video idea that I had, and hopefully you guys found it interesting and informative. And if that's the case, feel free to support me by leaving a like or comment, and consider subscribing for more videos just like this. Regardless, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in whatever video I upload next. Take care.